Hey guys, Animate West Reacts here. Gonna be reacting to Seraph of the End, chapter 151. So, starting off, we got Farad. It says, for a fleeting instant, the desires of over 400 vampires converged as one. And for that instant, almost an infant, for that instant, Farad was the longest lived vampire ever. He knew the second he took a step. Right then, he was more powerful than anyone. His father's eyes weren't following him, he was too fast. But his senses were so sharp he saw everything as if it were happening in slow motion. That was how fast he was. He had grown so powerful so quickly he could almost conceive himself that he was a god walking amongst mortals. This chapter is titled Desperately Struggling to the End. And yeah, Rigger's like, he vanished too fast. Like, Rigger's like, and you're too slow. And then Rigger gets his head took off. And so yeah, the chains shoot out of where his head would have been and connect again. And yeah, Rigger's like, enough of your nonsense. And then whips his hand and blocks all the chains. He says, do I chase him down or do I just devour him? Well, I can chop him into little bits and he won't die, so I guess devouring it is. Head, torso, legs, which is the correct piece to devour? I'm on a time limit here. And then Shinu just appears behind Farad. And then he says, I'm shooting the sinful keys. And he says, bang. He says, nice. Oh, and then, yeah, Gurren, I guess, appears, stabs him, and says, the head, devour the part where Saito's consciousness resides. And he's thinking, well, he got strong fast. He's just a seventh progenitor. How do you build all that power for himself? And then, yeah, chain goes through Sigur's head. And he's like, yeah, a little too strong. You're pushing past your limits, aren't you? How long can you keep this up? He says, until you're dead. And then Ferret opens his mouth and Rigger says, damn. And he lands, burps, and says, oh, wow, did I do it? Really? Did I actually win? And he's like, aha, so this is the research you were doing. And then, yeah, inside. He's like, weird, I can't sense... Or Ferret's like, weird, I can't sense anything from your main consciousness. Do you store it in some other piece of you? It's in the weakest looking parts. And he's like, did you really have the time to pull that off first? Or could you still swap it out after? He's like, good question. What do you think you have to do to beat me? And Farrad's like, no idea, so I'll just devour all of you. He's like, do you have that much time left? If you're on a time limit, all I have to do is stall to win. And Farrad's like, I only need seconds. With the gap in our power between us right now. He says, the gap in power you think is between us. And then Farrad's like sweats and says, oh, really? What? You can suddenly get more powerful yet. Yeah, suddenly get more powerful yet. Not that it'll be enough to beat me. And Rigger's like, vampires are their most powerful when they are weapons. And he says, your chains are your weapon. He says, the chains are a tool humans made for me, because besides, I just recently got a super powerful new sword. What do you think will happen when a vampire uses cursed gear? I'm about to find out, aren't I? And the Rigger says, yeah. You worked hard to give it and gave your best, tying together the consciousness of numerous vampires to artificially extend the time you lived is a smart idea. And Ferret says, what if I'm still more powerful even if you use your sword? Guess I'll just keep dodging until your time's up. He's like, oh, coward, fight me. And then he says, no. It's not like I actually have any interest in a boring Philistine like you. And Farrah says, I'll kill you. And he says, you're welcome to try. Let's do this. He says, come to me, my sword. Erd Geelis. Devour my desires and go berserk. And then Shinya is just split in half. And then Gurren yells, or Shinya says, sorry. Gurren yells, no, Shinya. And then Mahir is like telling him to calm down. He says, we can resurrect him with the others. We just need to win and we can fix this. And then Gurren yells, Farrah, the legs, that's where he really is. Destroy them. And Farrah's like, don't have to tell me twice. And he says, oh no you won't. Or, oh no you don't. He says, Erd, give me more power. And he says, using my sword lets me follow your movements at least a little. And then Farrah yells, get the sinful keys. Or get the sinful key. Gurren tells Mahir every ounce of power. She says, I know. Whew. And then, yeah, you see Shinya and you see the look on Gurren's face, just pain, and he's like, why every time? And then, yeah, she says, Gurren, the desires I'm feeling from you right now are death wishes. You're tired, you wish you could just disappear, you hate yourself for being unable to keep everyone safe, or anyone safe. You want me to eat those desires and turn them into power for you? And she says, Gurren, do you really expect me to give you power not so you can win, but so that you can die? He says, but Mahir, Shinya's, what am I even doing? Not once have I been able to protect anyone. Why am I still alive? Why am I trying so desperately Why am I trying so desperately to survive in this rotten disaster of a world? Ooh, yeah. She's like, I can't keep anyone I care about safe. Why? Why am I even bothering to do this? I'm tired. I want to quit this crap. And Mahir says, excuse me, it's way too late to whine. I'm sick of all this. I'm sick of all this too, you know. Both of us were born into families that were powerless. They weren't allowed to decide how they lived or even how they died, but we've desperately fought and survived all this time because we were going to win in the end. Isn't that what we decided? I didn't fall in love with a man who chickened out at the last minute. Pull yourself together, Gurren. Even if we somehow don't manage to win, at least make your last desire the wish to keep fighting. Whew. And so, yeah. End of the chapter. We got Gurren just gritting his teeth and screaming. But, yeah, so pretty good chapter. We got Rigger not going down easily, clearly, and kind of turning the tables on Farrah by using Erd as his demon sword, or his cursed weapon. So I managed to seemingly turn things around. Shinya dies, which is sad, but yeah, all been kind of whole thing of yeah. Don't know what I'm trying to say, but yeah, the whole thing has been about resurrecting everyone, so as Mahir said, we'll just revive him along with everyone else, so not really reason to get all messed up about it. Ooh, but yeah, he's dead there from the look of it. I mean, he got cut in two, so yeah. But overall, hope you all enjoy this video. If you do, leave a like on it, sub the channel, hit that notification bell, and I will see you all for the next one. So next month, I guess. So, later.